I was born in 1959 and I've recently fully retired from work. I'm now an old age pensioner, and that brings its challenges. There's a lot more nonsense to deal with that's living inside your head. What you used to do at weekends when you were employed, you now spread out over the whole week. You spend quite a bit of time sitting on your butt watching YouTube and old black and white movies. And I found the older I've become, the more isolated and inwardly thinking than I used to be, because you're not involved in other people's nonsense. The others, which I call them, bring their nonsense to the table. And sometimes when you're dealing with your own nonsense and you're dealing with quietly, retrospectively dealing with your own life, you're trying to keep sanity, you're trying to keep sane, I should say, in retirement during the winter months. You don't really want other people's nonsense interfering with that. Now, some people are quite happy to do that. They want other people's nonsense to deliberate, to talk about, to help them with, especially if it's family or dear friends that are struggling. Personally, the older I get, I don't want to deal with that. And that can make you an isolated person, because people don't see you as being on their side, or they have ideas that are not aligned with your ideas, and they find it offensive that you're not thinking the same way that they're thinking, certainly in these times. And so the nonsense is constantly there for you to deal with. And how you deal with it is entirely up to you. There is no right and no wrong. You just need to explain nicely. I don't feel the same as you. I feel the way that I feel. And that's it. I'll support you. And I would hope that you and they would support me. Because we're all human beings in this world, and we all carry around with us a load of nonsense that we're all trying to deal with. And as the old adage says, until you've walked a mile in somebody else's shoes, you don't know what they're going through. And subsequently, they don't know what you're going through. Now, fairly recently, a couple of years ago, I hiked the Camino de Santiago. And I hiked it because it was a long distance trail that I wanted to walk. A lot of people walk the Camino to exercise their nonsense. And I spent a lot of time listening to other people's nonsense and helping them through difficult times for them. Not in any practical way, but just for them to talk to somebody, an older person, which is what I found was the interesting part, and just listening to what they're saying and saying, yeah, everything will work out. And it always does. You just need to give it time and energy, and it just works out. And then you move on to some more nonsense and you deal with that. And that's what life is. A few years ago, I was watching a YouTuber called Feral. He's an American ex-naval intelligence officer, quite an intelligent man, nice to watch and listen to. And he was walking the Continental Divide Trail, which runs up the centre of the United States, up the Rockies. It previously walked the Appalachian Trail and the Pacific Crest Trail. And this was his final walk of 3,000 miles to gain his triple crown of hiking, the 3 long hikes in America. And he was talking about a book he'd read that I could recommend. And usually if somebody recommends a book, I'll go and buy it and read it. And the book essentially was talking about your body makeup is the bag of skin which is holding in the bones, the muscles, the sinews, the organs, the blood and the waste, and that computer of a brain inside the head is automatically running the body. It automatically keeps your heart working at whatever pace you need it to work. Yes, some people have faults with that. It keeps you breathing, and if you stop breathing, you wake up at night to say, oh, hang on a minute, I've stopped breathing. And your kidneys and your liver, your pancreas, your brain, your bowels, everything is run by the elephant, and that will automatically get rid of the waste, automatically keep everything running. Now that elephant needs a rider to keep everything, working in a daily environment. Now the rider decides on what shoes you're going to be wearing today. Yesterday I wore a different pair of shoes to the ones I've got on today. It decides on what jacket you're going to be wearing for the day, which glasses you're going to be wearing, at what time you're going to leave home and hopefully get back again. So your elephant and your rider need to work together to get through every minute, every hour, every day, every month, every year of your life. And when you start digging into that and trying to understand it, and any injuries or illnesses you have to work with the elephant to make sure that the illness and the injury gets better. If you have plantar fasciitis in your foot, which is extremely painful, by the way, you could just continue and the elephant will deal with the pain. But the rider needs to make a decision on what they're going to do to get that injury better again. And that's what life is all about. It's all about working through the nonsense and making sure that tomorrow is a better day than today. Now, we do deal with other people's nonsense as well, and that is out of our remit. We just need to keep moving forward and making sure that we are looking after ourselves and keeping the nonsense at bay and working through it and understanding that we've all got these problems and that we are all working through it. Some people are working through it better than others, but we're all working through it. And yeah, I'm going to come back another time and we'll continue this discussion. But for now, happy hiking.